Hi, Lorelia here. So earlier today, I'm actually doing two YouTube lives in one day. Earlier today, I did one, and a lot of things were going wrong. I lost battery power, my phone got too hot, and so I didn't really get to. I think I pretty much um, summed up the live and what I wanted to talk about. But this video right here, as you can see the title, what you don't know will hurt you, and it's somewhat of a continuation of the conversation that I was talking about. Um and for anyone that's new to this channel, my name is Brown-Phillips, and I'm not new to this topic of conversations about personal finance, credit, uh personal finance. I think I just said that, I'm not sure. Financial literacy. Not new to this conversation. On this channel is over 300 videos that you will see with me talking about this topic. And so what do I mean about, what you don't know will hurt you? Um, in the last video that I did earlier today, I made the comparison of how the poor look at bankruptcy. They look at it as a debt elimination tool, and getting out of debt is really relative. Um, and the reason why it's relative, because it's based on income. Um, and how the wealthy and the rich, they look at bankruptcy as a wealth preservation tool. How can they preserve their assets? How can I get these unsecured creditors out of my face and restructure some things, pay the secure creditors, and continue to have my asset to um, create income? And so the reason why I said what you don't know will hurt you is the one thing that I'm beginning, like now we're in this age of information. It's a lot of stuff out there. There's no excuses on not knowing something, not getting access to information, because it's all out there. And as much as people will say, well, instead of schools teaching, algebra or biology, we need to have more personal finance classes. And as much as I totally believe that, the problem that I have with that is that um, people want to really segment how to deliver the information of personal finance. And so what they say is they'll give you topics on what you need to know. You should know about budgeting, you should know about credit, you should know about investing. And I primarily feel like you should understand a financial statement. And what are financial statements? If I have any accountants out there, every accountant knows it doesn't matter whether you're currently practicing accounting. If you went to school and you have a degree in accounting, you know that financial statements consist of a balance sheet, an income statement, and a cash flow statement. Those are the three statements that make up what is called financial statements. And so imagine if we were to go through all our years of school understanding those three statements: balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement. Why are they important? Because on the balance sheet, you have what is considered assets. And the assets are the entities that flow money into what you would consider the income on the profit and loss statement. For accountants, we call it income statement. The liability section of the balance sheet are, of course, liabilities, and those transactions flow to the income statement as expenses. If an individual went 12 years of school, the same way we phonetically have to learn how to read, and then we have to learn how to add, imagine if we took those 12 years or even 4 years starting in high school to really understand those those two things. Cash flow statement really has to do with how much cash is flowing through your entity. And what a lot of people do not know is that you are an entity. You know, your family is an entity. And the reason why I'm bringing up the conversation of what you don't know will hurt you. We are in a time now that the advice that your auntie could have gave you, or your uncle or your grandma or whoever, and especially if it came from a place of scarcity, financial struggle, no longer works now in this economy. And why is that? Do you know, going back to the conversation that I had earlier, that you can recover easier from a bankruptcy than you can from an eviction? Did you hear that? You can recover easily from a bankruptcy than you can an eviction. Well, Aurelia, what do you mean? You know, if I file bankruptcy, I can lose 100 points on my credit report. That's possible. You're right. Your credit report could tank. But how about this? There's laws that have been created by the government that will protect you and allow you to stay in your home. Now, whatever the case may be, you can't afford it, you needed restructuring. This is not a video to give you legal advice. It is a conversation for people to really understand how the rules work, because many of us don't know the rules. Now, an eviction, on the other hand, you totally lose out. You lose your place where you need to stay, especially if you have a family, children, kids, husband, what have you. Everyone loses out. Not only do you lose out by not having a place to stay, how are you going to find a new place to stay? How are you going to find a new place to stay? Because the eviction is now going to be, whether it's on your credit report, it's going to be in a rental system. There are rental systems that are in place that even if you get it removed off your credit report, you can still be blacklisted in the rental system. So these are some things where people don't understand. What you don't know could hurt you. Because going back to understanding the financial statements, many of us, we go into this world in terms of, by the time we grow up, we don't understand how financial statements work. Even if we've been taught it in school, we don't know how to relate it to real life. And so imagine if we started our adult livelihood with understanding assets as opposed to income. Because many of us only know income. We know, okay, if we work a job, we're going to get income. But we don't know that that's an area on the financial statements that's going to generate income for us. And those are the assets. So it goes back to the video that I did earlier today when I said that the wealthy are concerned about wealth preservation. You have, like I said earlier, you have a president who's president now, who's built his platform talking about how he's been able to leverage the laws of the U.S. bankruptcy code to be able to protect his assets. He brags about it. He's built his whole real estate career on saying how he hires experts who understand the U.S. bankruptcy code. Whereas the poor go into bankruptcy, and they are branded with the scarlet letter. And understand, we live in a society where I totally get it. I get it why people would um uh think that it is a scarlet letter, because do you know there are some jobs that will legally let you go if you file for bankruptcy. And and a lot of people do not know that a lot of times when you get hired is in the paperwork that you have, especially when it comes to handling money, dealing with money, and even some governmental jobs. They will let you go. They will fire you if you file for bankruptcy. So understand, that's why individuals think it's a scarlet letter. But I say all this to say, and this is where I ended at the last video, is that I personally think people really need to get back to the basics of really understanding how the rules of finances and economics and really capitalism, how does it work in this country. A few videos ago, I did a video on a high income skill set. I touched on it in the last video, and I talked about how there is not a credit guru out there who could tell you how to put $150 where $15,000 is supposed to go. What do I mean by that? If a person is in debt for, well over $15,000, and they really only have a certain amount of money, how are they going to pay it off? How are they going to pay it off? And remind you, I'm giving a very vague example of it. In other videos, I've went more into it. Person makes less than $20 an hour. They got all this debt, student loan debt. It doesn't get discharged. How's the person going to pay it off? They make less than $20 an hour. How are they going to pay the debt off? There's no credit score out there that's going to help them eliminate that debt. So that's why I had said that earlier today that I'm going to be doing a series of videos. I think I'm going to put them here on YouTube. If not, I definitely know I will announce it to my email communication list. So please go to cashflow.yourmoneymentor.com to be on my list, because I'm really not sure. But what I understand is that, and I recently, my brother posted a quote on Facebook, and it is so true, that I can't think word by how it goes, but basically, you can't force people to accept information that they're not willing to accept, something like that, and it's true. But what you can do is plant a seed, and that's what I always believe, to plant a seed, because I feel very comfortable with knowing that most of the content that's on this channel has been in the form of teaching. Just had a conversation with a lady about a week and a half ago, called me for a consultation. And in that consultation, she explained to me how, a lot of my content on the channel helps her, and she got it for free. And she was able to raise her credit score. She went from the 5s to the 7s. And now she just has a few things, and she reached out to me and we did a consultation. So I feel comfortable with knowing that for those who are interested in learning um, about how a high income, skill can really help them financially. Um, because there's so many moving parts when it comes to this whole understanding of money. That's why it goes back to the balance sheet. Because with the information that I plan to share, what I've noticed is that individuals don't have assets. So that's why you have people who really think that income comes from a job, because they don't have any assets that produce money. They don't have a business that produce money. If they have a business, all they have is what you see on social media. I filed my LLC. Thank you. I mean, that's great. Conduit went from a 400 to a 720. And there you go. And said it was possible. But I couldn't read it all. It was so big. But you have some people who do have a business and they filed the LLC paperwork, they got the logo, they got the fancy name, but then they don't know how to, they don't know how to get any income in their business. They don't know how to find customers. They don't have to know how to find clients. They don't know how to do anything. And so they have a business what's on paper, but I'm going to tell you what a business coach of mine said many years ago, that I learned from. You don't have a business until you can get people to pay you money. Oh, however, whether they paying you credit cards, PayPal, change, what have you. All you got is a glorified hobby. And so there's a lot of people who do have that. They just have glorified hobbies. And that's why they're all scouring around the internet looking for business funding. How I'm going to get some business funding. How I'm going to get somebody to give me some business credit. And they got bad credit. Their business ain't making no money. But some way they want somebody to lend them 20 or 25,000. Oh, well, you know what? I could make some money as soon as man, go somewhere with that. It's 2019. Ain't no such thing as I have to get business lending or get business funding in order to start a business. And so these webinars that I'm going to be doing, or however I plan to share it, is really going to touch on that. The importance of a high income skill set. A high income skill set can be many things. I'm only going to share what works for me. And I'm going to really save this for a separate video, but I also have a lot of people who've been coming to me about starting a credit repair business. And I'm going to save that as a separate video. I'll touch on that tomorrow. But because I do have a few 2 cents about that in terms of wanting to start a credit repair business. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole because I'm already at 18 minutes on this video. But there you go. So, like I said, what you don't know, it will hurt you. If you really think you're going to go through life and not want to learn nothing, especially in the times that we're in now, don't want to learn nothing, don't want to read no books, don't want to go to no seminars, and expect people to have pity on you. That ain't how it works. There's a lot of real estate investors I'm connected to on Facebook, and because they're in my local market. And one of them is a guy based out in Philly, Asian guy. And he said, it's sad that people don't realize that if they get evicted, that it's going to be hard for them to find a place to stay. That's real talk. That's real talk. Now, you talking about a scarlet letter? A bankruptcy ain't half as bad as an eviction. It ain't nowhere near it. At least if you have a bankruptcy, you can get funding. There are lenders who will lend to you, knowing that there is a bankruptcy on your credit report. If you're trying to get a home, if it's been discharged, I know there was some lenders that I was speaking to at least 2 years. So if if it's been about 2 years, you can move on. But an eviction, and I was like, wow, that's real talk. And he's somebody who's a landlord. He's a landlord, and it's sad to say, he rents to predominantly African American people. And like he said, do they realize that they ain't gonna find no place to stay? Like, your options are very limited, very limited, and that's no way to live. That is no way to live. So, like I said, if you're interested in what I have going on, you're interested about learning the high income skill set, you want to know more about the webinars that I'm going to be holding, it's not a government giveaway. It is not a lottery. The information is free, but there will be possibly cost along with it. Will I be sharing tools? Yes. Do I get paid to share these tools? Yes. Yes. So, but that's all I have. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I look forward to talking to you in the next video. And like I said, it's real out there. You know, if you're looking for a Robert Smith to pay your debts, if you don't know who Robert Smith is, he's the billionaire that paid off the student loans for those men at Morehouse College. It's real out there. I don't really think no Robert Smiths are coming to help you with your personal finances. You're going to have to be your own Robert Smith. So, like I said, this is Lorelia. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you want to be on my email communication list, please go to cashflow.yourmoneymentor.com. I'll have all the links